Hello leaders, you're listening to In Between, a higher self-leadership podcast. I'm Valarie, a business coach and leadership mentor. In my podcast, I wish to share my awareness on higher self-leadership and how we can integrate it in our leadership practice every day and see results. Higher self-leadership is in the awareness. Hello leaders. Today, let's speak about presence. We speak a lot about alignment, to be in the now, to be in the present moment, to feel aligned. All this is true, but I want to explain a little bit more what I feel presence is in my perspective, and probably not only mine. Presence is the one thing that is always available. And yet we spend most of our time away from it. We can be distracted because there is a lot of distraction available in the world. There is a lot to occupy our mind, our hands, our brain. Our nervous system is so solicited that sometimes we numb ourselves. And as we numb ourselves, we need more distractions to feel, to live, to feel alive. So we are kind of in a loop. So we fill all spaces, all silences with sound, with movement, with height, with occupation, with preoccupation, with worries. Our mind likes having us worried because it takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, and it can bring something in the silence. When I was younger, I was taught to come back to my center, to come back to myself, to come back within. So I learned how to do it with meditation. I learned how to do it on my yoga mat. I was able to do it quite nicely when I was in a quiet place. But I wanted to feel the same state when I was at work, or in the middle of a busy crowd, in the subway at rush hours. Not only in my room or in my sanctuary, but always. I wanted to have this state of presence always, all the time. Not only when the conditions were good, not only when I was in good emotions or a good state of mind, when there was less worries. So I wanted to learn that, and I did. And it's not a luxury to feel that. Present is not a luxury, even if it can sound that way sometimes. We can hear people saying, I don't have the luxury of time. I don't have time to meditate. It must be nice to have time to contemplate. And it's true. It's nice to have this time. And it's nice as well to master what it means to meditate, to contemplate, and to be present. Once we learn, then it becomes easier to be in this state all the time, or actually most of the time. Because actually presence is all. It's the root of our true power. The power that we've been looking for always and ever. The power, our personal power, our true power, is found within presence. It can take time sometimes to master this state of presence. And the more we practice, and the more we come back to it all the time, then it will be easier at one point to be in this state all the time. We can reach the point where it doesn't leave us anymore. But actually, like I said, this requires practice. We need to cultivate this present. We need to cultivate being present in all kinds of situations. It doesn't mean that we won't lose it anymore. It doesn't mean that we don't feel anymore. It doesn't mean that we don't have any emotions. It doesn't mean that we don't have anything to do. That's all wrong. Of course, everything's still going to be there. It's not about doing less. It's about being more. And the mind, usually when we say that we have to be more something, it always thinks it's doing something less. And this is not true, actually, because there is still things to do, stuff to do. Your job is not going to make it by itself. But when we are in this being, all come into place. All seems to flow. the mind isn't in control, but of service. And that's what we want, the mind to be in service of our presence, of our soul. Sometimes presence can feel like it's emptiness. Actually, it's quite the opposite. It's aliveness. And when we reach the state where the mind isn't afraid of that state anymore, of the state of aliveness, when we reach the state where the mind doesn't need to be in control anymore because he's scared, then we can be in this aliveness without distortion. But why do we run from presence? Because it confronts us with ourselves, with our emotions, with our beliefs, with the void, with the lack of vision, with the meaning or the meaningless of our life. It confronts us with what we haven't resolved yet, what we think needs resolution. It confronts us with what we've forgotten. So that's a lot. So that's why we escape that presence, because that's a lot to face. We rather feel secure and not think about all of that, not to feel our emotions, not to feel the void, not feeling what could be our life. So the mind is leading. And for the mind to lead, it needs story to feel safe. And when it's the soul that leads, it doesn't need to know. It just is. And this presence dissolves the illusion of control. And that could be threatening for the ego, for the conditioning mind, because it can feel that it's losing control. There is so many benefits for the presence. It brings the inner peace, but more than that, it brings clarity. And when you are in presence, then you can make your decision making from power, because you can see all the options. You can see with clarity. Everything becomes so clear that you know what decision is the best one at the moment. Some other benefits of presence is like the deeper embodiment that we are all looking for. We know so many things that we should be and should do, but do we embody that? Not all the time. And in leadership, we need this embodiment, because that's how people can trust that what we are doing is what we embody. Presence magnetize without effort, the right situation, the right people. And in this state of presence, truth becomes so much louder than fear. And the fear is dissolved in this presence, actually. And in this state of presence, you can notice so much around you. You can hear what people don't say. You can hear what they say. You can find the little signals. You can notice the congruence in what being said. You can feel the emotions. So there is so much benefits from this presence. And we don't need to find presence, actually, because we are it. We just forgot that we are it. And if we try to stop escaping it, and if we stop being afraid of ourselves, and we accept to go back in this presence, then we can change our life. Because presence is our truth and our real freedom. In presence, we are free from the should, from the would, from the could. We are free from the conditioning mind. We are back in our truth. Not to mention that presence is free. I like to add this little piece at the end because this is true, actually. Presence is within. There is nothing to buy. Everything is free. So let's contemplate our presence, and let's contemplate what part of us is still afraid to be fully present, to be fully here. And what would become clear if we stopped running and simply stayed? Can I be present a little bit more today and face maybe an emotion or a belief or a void, and see what it brings, see what it has to say? How do I feel with that? Can I move one step beyond one more step, in this presence? Can I be more present, like for 5 minutes today? Be present at dinner with your partner, with your kid, with your colleagues at lunch time. Be present in one meeting maybe today. Be present when I'm driving my car to go somewhere. The same presence that we can have when we are in a state of safety. And what if present was not something to reach? Because as we said, it's not something that we need to find. Let's consider presence as something we've never truly left, actually. That has been always there. We just forgot. We just forgot that part of us. And we let our mind, our conditioning mind, taking the lead. And the conditioning mind is trying to fill the void. But actually there is no void. There is only presence. So I'm going to leave you with that prompt. What part of me is still afraid to be fully here? What will happen if I listen fully to the others, to myself? And can I do that like 5 more minutes today? And see what happens. Thank you for listening in presence. Leadership in Action. See you soon in the next episode.